Hey, what's going on, guys? DJ Madam AD checking in, and today we are going to be doing big room EDM kicks on Cubase 7.5. The reason why I'm doing this is not because there's not a whole bunch of EDM big kicks tutorials out there, but I haven't seen not even one on Cubase, and I haven't seen it using the tools that I'm going to use. So let me just minimize this. Hide this because I don't need to see it. That's my mic monitor. So let me just color this red and this color, and I want enlarge. I don't want the enlarge to be on because I want to zoom in on everything so you guys can see what I'm doing. So I'm gonna do this using MIDI. A lot of guys they usually use audio. Waveforms and stuff like that bounce their stuff out. But you can also do it with MIDI if you like. So the first thing I'm gonna start with an 808. Where can you get an 808? You may ask. Well, you can get an 808 just about anywhere. When it comes to Cubase, if you go to your media bay, if you go to a media bay right here and just go all files and you search 808, whole bunch of stuff is gonna come up. Whole bunch of samples will come up. In this case, I am not going to use the media bay. I'm going to use Kontakt with a really cool extension called 808 Warfare. If you guys look it up, it will pop right up. This is a really cool 808 expansion pack for Kontakt. It just sounds insane. That's me playing it right now. They have a whole bunch of versions of kicks and stuff like that, like you can see over here. But I'm gonna use this version, and we are going to work on the note G. So I'm gonna double click on this. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go to the regions and I'll put it on every 4, and I'm gonna go to line and go like this. Now I got my, but I want this an octave lower. All right, so we got the 808 right there. Close that, bring this back, the release. So that's one thing about this plugin, that you can't really, all these buttons really don't work. But regardless of what, the samples are really good. So first we're gonna start with, go right here, and we're gonna go to the plugins that I use to do this stuff. Turn these off. I'm gonna start. The first thing I'm gonna start with is this really cool plugin by FXpansion called Mowel. If you guys don't have it, I highly recommend it. Definitely to do distortions and all types of stuff. I spoke about this plugin in my earlier tutorials, but today we're gonna use it for some kicks. The first thing, I'm still learning this plugin, but I just go whatever my ear brings to me or whatever. So the first thing, I'll go to distortion. We have 4 bands, which is low, mids, and highs. So I'm gonna go to the low, go to distortion, go to DIFF, and I'm gonna just play it and see what I hear. So you got the drive here, you got the mix. That's without it. All right. So one thing that I highly recommend for you guys to do is to never completely put the mix on 100%. The reason why you don't want to do that 100% is because the more distortion you add to your 808 or anything that has bass, the more distortion you add to it, the less bass. It takes away from the bass. So if you leave it dry, it already has a lot of body, the 808. This particular 808 is a little bit more distorted already, but I want to distort it a little bit more just for the sake of making those EDM big room kicks. So you don't want to go 100% because the more distortion you go, the more distortion you add, the less the bass is going to disappear. So so you definitely don't want to do that, and so it becomes more of a tone, and the body just disappears. So I usually like to have it like, between the 40 and the 50. That sounds just about right. You got a tone. The tone right here, that's for where you want it to start. No, the cutoff is from 20 to, I have it as of right now until 363, the frequency, and then the tone. To be honest, I have no idea what that's for. Regardless of what, moving forward. Then got a dynamics button right there. So now you go to the mid, and I'm gonna go to distortion again. I'm gonna go to half RECT, half rect, whatever that is, and I'm gonna try that out. I'm gonna lower down first and bring it back up. Let's look. So I'm gonna look for a different one. So now when it comes to creating these kicks, it all depends on what you're doing and what fits your track. But if for the sake of the tutorial, I'm going to use this one right here because it really like pops out. So without it, and I'm just going to bring it in slowly. So that's pretty cool. And for the highs, I'm going to use the ring mod because I want the high end to pop up. See, in this case, it's not going to pop up that much just because of the fact that there is no that much high end on that. So I'm just going to go through so nothing goes through it. So once I'm done with, and I find something that I really like, I'm not saying that this is what I like or whatever, then I close that and I go to this plugin, really cool plugin called Volume Shaper by Cable Guys. The same people that make Kick by Nicky Romero and Kickstart, which I personally like this plugin the best. Kickstart is really cool for just sidechaining something really fast. But if you want to get into more detail as far as like the whole sidechaining process, envelope and whatever you call that, you definitely want to use this. So this is what I'm going to use to actually shape the kick. So it goes like this. And it gives you a really cool wave representation. I'm going to hit this button right here like a magnet. What it does is it kind of like, when you click on somewhere, it kind of like attaches to the lines. It's kind of like a grid. Attaches to the grid, that's what I mean. So I'm gonna create a couple of points, bring this all the way down, and this one. So I think I want to go on the halfway point because I don't want to make this kick too long. Let me turn off the metronome. So that's with and without. So now some of you guys might be like, "Oh wow, that kick sounds already incredible. I would like to have that kick without the volume shaper." Well, the thing about having those big kicks like that is that those kicks are a mixing nightmare. It's physically like almost impossible to get a good mix when you have a kick like this, because there's literally almost like no room for just about anything else. So you're just gonna have a nightmare. So it's always good to just leave some space for like extra little low end stuff that you might want to add in, so you have kind of more like a bounce on it. So once I have that, I have a trans shaper here, but I don't want to use that. Once I have that, I still have this thing open right here, so I'm going to close that, and I am going to go to this new plugin by Native Instrument and Reactor called Polyplex. Now you could use just about any drum machine, but for the sake of this video, I just wanted to use this because I just got this plugin the other day, so I'm gonna use that right there. I'm gonna use that, and I'm gonna turn off that effect. There you go. That's all I want right there. So I'm gonna look for it in my keyboard. Bring the volume down. That's not it. So I got that little thing, and I'm gonna record it on top of the kick. What I'm looking for right now is to add kind of like a top click to it. So I want to add kind of like some transients to it, basically. So I'm gonna go and record this. Close that real quick. And I already have a volume shaper here because I know I'm gonna use one. First, I'm gonna open this EQ. Make sure I take out all that low end. And then I'm gonna go to my volume shaper, which I already had it open. The good thing about it is already giving me a cool representation of it. So what I'm gonna do, make one here, turn on this magnet thingy, make another one here, because I only want a little bit, it's just an attack for it. So let's play it real quick. So now I have an attack, and last but not least, I want to add more punch to the transient. So I'm going to create a new instrument, and of course bring up the world famous kick, Nicky Romero edition. This is really good for making kicks. So we are on G, so we want to turn on this key track. First of all, let's find a kick that a sound that we like. So in this case, I think I want to go techno. And I'm going to start looking for something I like. I actually like that one. Automatically it's default on middle C. So if you want to use your keyboard and tune it, whatever, you got to turn on this key track right here. So it's on G. So that means I could use E or C. So in this case, I'm going to use C. So I'm just going to turn this off so I can hit any key, and it's going to be on it. It's in the scale of the major scale, so that's why I'm going to use C. And I don't want it to be that big, that long of a kick. So I'm going to go to amp, and I'm going to shape this and make it a little shorter. You can actually do it by doing this right here. Or you could do it by shaping it manually, which is right here. So you might be asking yourself, like, why am I making another kick to put it on top of that big 808, which it already has like this big attack and a big release? Well, I'm gonna show you in a second. First, I'm gonna record this. Let me mute this real quick so it won't be distorting your speakers and stuff like that. Okay, so now that I have that, open the editor. And what I want to do is I want to open up another. Actually, can I do it just here? No, I could do it in the same one. I don't need another one. open up the volume shaper, and what I'm going to do is this big 808 kick, which is this right here. I'm only going to use that as an aftershock, like whoop, whoop, like that. And the kick over here is going to be the attack, and this is going to be the release. So I'm going to shape that in volume shaper. If I want to actually see the representation of the audio, I'll open another volume shaper. Make this flat. Let me close this real quick. So now I know this is the bottom one and this is the big kick. And let's play this. So what I want to do is I want this to have its own space and I want this to be gone. So I want to bring this down. So basically what I'm doing is I'm making space for that big for the kick that has the attack. And once that kick is gone, then the big room filler bass comes in, and again, it sounds like this. And in this case, we just gotta do a little mixing. So there you have it. That's how you will make a fat kick. Last but not least, if you not if you want, but it's always good. You might want to group these tracks. Oh, not create an automation. Where is it? No, not really. Let me just open my mix console. And I'm gonna right click and add group channel to select the tracks, whatever in this case. But before I do that, let me just hit the Q link button so they can all go to the same place. And kick group. Now I have them all grouped. Let me just make this a little bit smaller so you guys can see it. And let me just move the stereo master to down here. Let me take these two out of there. And now all I'm seeing is what I'm working with. So let me turn off that audio. There you go. So now we got the big bass, we got the kick attack, and then we got the perk that's creating that transient. And again, it sounds like. So now once you have it right here, of course you want to, kind of like control this a little bit. There's multiple things you could use. You could use the Waves SSL compressor, bus compressor. That's they did that after. Not that one. SSL bus, SSL compressor. There you go, right here. You could use this. A little bit too much. I usually when I use this glue compressor, I like to put it for it to not to pass 4. In this case, there's too much signal going in, so I will select them all and I'll bring it down a bit. And now I will move the threshold up a little bit. Put this on 0 because I don't need that to be so loud. And then you do a little mixing. I have this a little bit slow. I think I have this on 120. Let's make it 128 because that's the almighty number for EDM. So there you go, 128 EDM. And once I do that, let's say for whatever reason I want a little more transient, more hit. Uh, I like this plugin by Waves called TransX, which is this right here. I think they did a phenomenal job on this. It just makes it just crack in your ears when you use this plugin. So you hear it. That kick sounds basically phenomenal. I might just use this for a track. And last but not least, I will use a limiter. You can actually use just a regular limiter, invisible limiter. You could use a L1. In my case, I'm a fan of API. So I am going to use that. And I'm going to use the almighty preset right here. Bring it back to 0. So now it's being brick walled, and you can actually push it a little more if you want. But of course you're gonna get distortion on it. So now if for whatever reason you feel like it still needs a little something, it's too muddy or whatever, you can always go back to your session and add some noise to it. Let me just move this over here. I will name this top kick. Name this low kick. And kick attack. By the way, when you name something over here, and if you hold Shift, Enter, it will name the region as well. So that's why I'm doing that again. So once you're over here, I'm going to create another instrument. This time I'm going to use Spire. I'm going to initialize. I'm going to go and make a noise. I'm going to bring this up. Oops, sorry about that. Bring it to 0. So in this case, what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna do a straight line like this. Let me just close this so you guys can see what I'm doing. This is done. Press record. Okay, I'm gonna delete the first one. Oops. I don't know why I did that, but regardless of what, I could just extend this one right here. So I know what you're thinking. You're like, oh, he's going to make a sidechain. But in this case, I am not going to do that. I'm going to do the reverse. First, add an EQ with a low cut, because we don't need that part. So all that muddiness is gone. And then I am going to do a volume. I'm going to add a volume shaper. So that's what you will normally hear on an EDM track, but I don't want to do that. I actually want to do the opposite. I want to I want it to hit on the kick. So it sounds like this. This up a bit. I'm gonna put this on G, and then I am going to send it to. Let me just bring up the mix console, wherever it is. There you go. And I am going to send this to the buzz. And then I'm going to mix it in. just so you can have that, that make it rich in the high end. This is a preference thing, but I do this when I do my tracks. It depends on what kind of track I'm making. But if you listen to this on your headphones or big speakers, you would definitely be able to tell that this kick right here is definitely knocking. Don't need that Trans-X right. Remember the most DAW, I say EAW like the speaker brand. DAWs, they do have all these plugins built in, like distortion tubes and stuff like that. Like for example, right here, I can add a tube from Steinberg, which I really like this one. You can tell it adds some major characters to it, and the harmonics and stuff like that. And then if you feel that for some weird reason, like your low end is disappearing, you can always add the R bass to bring back that low end, and the 50 hertz, and then you bring it down and you start bringing it low slowly. So now you're bringing in all, like, because I'm doing it on the bus. So you're bringing in all that bass that's being created all together from all these elements into one, and it's all being compressed by the API, or it could be any limiter, Cubase stock limiter, or whatever. So there it is. I hope this tutorial was helpful. So I'll try to do it as fast as possible. And if you have any comments, if you want to see more stuff about this, or any questions, whatever, just please feel free to comment below. Please make sure to like the video, subscribe if you want to see more tutorials, and don't forget to follow the podcast, the All House Music Podcast. That's the My House My Way show. Follow DEEJAYMAD, and check out my tracks on iTunes, Beatport, TrackSource, and all that good stuff. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you on the next one.